ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ. Welcome to our regular session, Restoring Health and Recovering Sovereignty. And our process that we have been working with has been a process in which um, we've tried to give some understanding of the psychological change that we are all undergoing and how to make that psychological change work for us. Rather than getting caught up in the fear, rather than damaging your health, how can you strengthen your health and how can you move across? So, part of this transition, as we said to you right at the start, life is not quite going to be the same normal that it used to be. In other words, life has now changed, is changing so much that we have to change with life. And if you have any inclination that you may return to a life that is normal, you may be disappointed. When I say normal, is the way you used to live. Lifestyle is changing and it's going to change substantially more as we move forward over the next year to 2 years. So it's not a one off COVID kind of event and then everything returns to normal. On the contrary, there are other subsequent events that are already underway which will start becoming more and more present. So it's absolutely critical. What will get you through this time is regular meditation. Regular meditation. Meditation that is done um, like part and parcel of brushing your teeth. And I once said, brushing your teeth is to dental health, or meditation is to mental health. Well, I'd like to redefine that. It's not just mental health, it is your whole health. So, this is one of the reasons we are introducing different types of meditations. And these meditations are designed to take us through a process of evolution, but also a process of health and well being. And the evolution is that we don't suffer as much as we may have to in this transition that we are going through. So the transition is a state of consciousness as well. I'm afraid the greed orientated way, the anger and fear orientated way has had a toll on all of us. And now the time is for a karmic rebalance. And this rebalance is taking place before your very eyes. So in the Sri Guru Granth Sahib, the sacred text of the Sikhs, there's a couple of lines which my mother shared with me yesterday, were so profound. It is said, existence has the ability to make an infinitesimally a tiny little insect of an insect into a king. And existence has a way of making kings and queens into prisoners. Now, and she was talking to me in the context of the the current crisis. And she said, well, what is this? This is simply a tiny form of life that has now become a king. It has become a king. What does that mean? That it is everywhere. Everyone is afraid of it. Everyone is working towards its um, requirements. And we've had to adjust the life in order to accommodate a few bits of genetic material. Just think about it. And at the same time, the kings and the queens and the ones that had so much and were showing you at every moment, look at me, look at my this, look at my designer clothes, look at my bank balance, look at my new phone, and so on and so forth, means nothing. Even kings and queens can't come out of their house now and need to cover their face and need to hide their noses. This is the profound nature of existence. That existence will take that which is considered low, bring it to the top, and that which is considered very significant, bring it to the bottom. Humanity, who thought that they had the dominion over the earth, very quickly learned that's not the case. Yeah, You don't even have dominion over yourself, let alone over the earth. So we are now in the process of wake up, and we can make this wake up into a smoother experience, or we can just say, you know what, I'll just take my chances and go with it. Now, we have moved fully through all these regular meditations that we're doing, with the talks we're doing, gently easing ourselves into this stage. So, really, it's a stage where it begins with a level of shock, disbelief, but panic and fear. And that was there in March and April. That slowly was transformed into saying, all right, this is the way it is. Let's go towards acceptance. This is the way it is. I'm not trying to deny it. I'm not trying to change it. I'm simply becoming aware of what's going on inside me. And inside me, I am fearful. I am anxious. I feel isolated. I feel insecure. I don't know what's happening. And I feel there's a threat to me. So we recognize that. Through that recognition, which we use the awareness of curiosity, well, let me have a look what's going on within me. We have now come to the third stage, which is the stage of tolerance, where we begin to tolerate what we are feeling. It's okay. There is a level of insecurity, but it's okay for you to feel that because it'll keep you on your toes. But remember one thing. Well, it's not so much even remember. Recognize one thing. Look, all of us, we are only here because of another. Had we not had two parents, had we not had a mother, we would not be here. So we are the product of another. Then, on top of that, since the moment you were a cell in your mama, all this process has begun and you have evolved into today, sitting here listening to this, or perhaps not. So it's a process of change. And last week I introduced that there are five layers to you, or there are five interrelated layers. And these layers are the physical layer. Now, that is only possible through the food you eat. And the food that you eat has to come from the ground, it has to come from the earth. Earth, nutrients, when I say earth, I mean nutrients have to be used, which are physical, meaning that you can see them, that you then consume, and that is then metabolized, and that becomes your bones and your skin and your teeth, all the solidity in your body. Then the water that you drink, that without water there is no life. So without the water that you drink, even the water that you drink is makes up all the fluids, all the blood, the plasma, all that is made out of those fluids. The components of the water, the components of the food mixed with then the air, when these three things are brought together and a reaction takes place, a chemical reaction takes place, which generates heat, energy. So we have a fourth component, which is this energy, electricity, heat, whatever you want to call it, within the body. And we know it's heat because the moment you die, the body becomes cold. So we know it's heat that's generated that keeps this organism going within this time and space. So all of those things, the food, the earth, water, electricity, the chemical reactions, which one of those have you implemented? Have any control over? And you could say, well, I could go without food for a while, but the body will still react to the hunger. So, what I'm trying to say is that we begin to recognize that we are part and parcel of this thing called existence. And this thing called existence, call it God, call it oneness, call it whatever you want to call it is your subjective experience of now. And the absolute primary reality is your awareness, your consciousness. That's bottom line, is the furthest you can go within yourself to discover what you are. And when you get to this consciousness space, there are things that happen, which is the body begins to balance and therefore restores our health and well-being. So let's come to tolerance again. So now we begin to see that these are the effects that are going on. We are also tolerant of the fact that there is something suspicious going on behind our backs. There is something that's not clear. There are people with vested interests that are deliberately pushing certain agendas. We know that those who are supposed to be in charge, because we put them in charge, are actually just in, not even in charge of their own thinking. So they are in charge of a completely different paradigm that you and I have nothing to do with. These rules and regulations that are being imposed seem to be breaking down every other day. So one needs to question this. Do not stop questioning this. This is your time now to express yourself, your freedom. If you mean no, you need to say no. If you are unsure about the vaccination, you need to say no. If you are unsure about what's going on with your political leaders, you need to ask them, put them in front, make them the guinea pigs. Make sure that those around you who are telling us to do that this is what we need to do, let's have a look how much of that they do. And let's look at their families doing that. What I'm saying is become aware that we are being herded. We are being pushed towards a particular agenda. And you must be able to critically evaluate what's going around you. Did you know one of the ways of taking the voice away from the first slaves was to mask them? Masks have always been a way of hiding. So, deliberately wearing masks without knowing what you're wearing and why you're wearing it, what its impact is, you're really feeding an agenda. You're feeding an energy without even knowing. Without even knowing. So, it is critically important to realize that whatever you do it for yourself. But as you become more and more embedded in yourself, this trust begins to open by itself. You don't need to do much. You just need to knock on the door. That's all we're doing through our meditations. We're knocking on the door. We're not giving, there's no solutions. There's nothing else that's been given here. But the golden key to all your problems is your mind, emotions, and physical health. Sort your mind out, become a bit present, use some of this understanding to recognize the reality that you're in. That the earth, that the reality that you're in is a reality that has a start date and has an end date. That's for you. In itself, existence will keep going on. For existence will, like everything else, it grows, then it fades away. It grows, it fades away. This is why the mantra is such a critical element of combining the two together. Existence on one side and your ability to create the same pattern through a mantra, through a sound that begins with silence, and then your intention creates it. Your intention manifests it. Now, as we begin to exercise that, I will add other elements in it to do with manifestation, creativity, etc. But this is it of silence and stillness. Two, that you can exercise your awareness. And three, that you have been so privileged in this life right now. There are billions of others who have been introduced to a mantra through not just a mantra for the sake of saying, but the science behind the mantra in order to benefit you in this life. So the question to ask ourselves sometimes is, what have I done to deserve? And what I have done to be deserved is that this is what we can call grace. This is what we can call benediction. This is what we can call good prasad. That in this moment of darkness, and many people are suffering now the consequences of self isolation. Many people are suffering the consequences. But on the other hand, there are many individuals that have certainly been associated with the flame family who are reporting that this is the best thing that's ever happened. And the meditation and the qi gong and looking after yourself, making sure you have ginger, garlic, vitamin C, vitamin D3, zinc as regular part of your diet. Tulsi, trifla, brahmi as regular part of your diet. Maintain your health, strengthen your immune system. And I want to talk about another initiative that we've launched about strengthening your immune system. Because governments will not kill viruses, doctors will not kill viruses, and I would even go as far as saying vaccinations don't kill viruses. I will say to you, our immune system, our immunity is the first line of defense. And it is the most valuable, trusted. Why? Because it has survived billions of years or millions of years in its evolution. It has dealt with infinite number of pathogens, whether you call them viruses, bacteria, and it has survived. So you too have all of that with you. You are only here because of your parents and their parents and their parents. All of those have struggled far more than you ever have, far more than I ever, because they've had different kinds of struggles. Our struggles are mental, their struggles were physical. Our struggles are emotional. Our struggles are first world struggles. Their struggles were life. And all those ancestors, all that genetic material stands with you right now, right this moment. As soon as you acknowledge that, it is there. And it is this strength that takes us forward. So, yes, we tolerate what is going on, but we also begin to recognize how we have become who we are. One, that all those who stand behind us are always with you, always with you. We just don't recognize. This is why the culture has gone out of its way to cut your roots, no matter where they were from, whether they were from religious communities, extended families, joint families, whatever it was. It's cut. It's cut. Even now, in a regular home, people don't necessarily eat together. The kitchen isn't used as an alchemy center. Yeah, the fire doesn't exist anymore. This magical ingredient that makes your home into a chemical or alchemy laboratory, provided you put three things in there. Feminine energy must be present. Pure water is useful. Yellow fire and not blue fire. And then if that is cooked within that central space, whatever the feminine energy is distributed like a fragrance. And therefore, why? Because the feminine energy is the essence of creation. No, Eve was not born out of a rib. No, no. It is not a man that gives birth to a woman. As Guru Nanak says, Pandit Jamia, that it is from a woman comes, and from a woman, a man comes. So we have to recognize that the first principle of creativity is feminine. It's the feminine energy. And this feminine energy is arising. And this family and feminine energy is an energy that has both two sides to it. It is like Kali. Yes, Sandra, it is like you. It has both the swords. It can be a nurturer, but it can also be the slayer. And now the time has come for us to slay, to put aside, to say, we've had enough of that. We want a new way of living. Thank God. Thank existence. Thank whatever you want to thank that we have been given this opportunity to take control, to regain what we have, to become whole, to become one, and to say, you know what? Yeah, I want to create this kind of a life. And this confidence, this ability to use intention and knowledge and the confidence, the energy of being saying, yeah, I'm going to give it a go. And if you wish to help yourself, the universe will help you. That's just the way it works. You know, if you take the first step, the universe will hold you. See what I mean? So we have to take this first initial step. So you can see where we are. We're in this place of tolerance within our kind of psycho-spiritual space, or psychological, mental health, emotional health, physical health. So there's a level of tolerance of stuff that we're not really necessarily happy or comfortable with. But at the same time, there is also now this process of enabling a new way of being, a process of creativity, a process of moving towards um, flourishing. It's flourishing. And you don't need to do much. You just need to nurture the seed. The seed is your meditation. That meditation is what nurtures the seed. And the seed will germinate by itself as long as you give it the right conditions. That's all there is to it. So there is nothing extraordinary about spiritual awakening. It's a hard process, I'll tell you that now. It has many consequences. But having said that, this is what we're here to. You're going to sooner or later, whether it's in 10 days time, whether it's 100 years time, we have an expiry date. Life comes to an end. Where do you want to consider your life? Do you want to say, well, I lived most of my life fearing COVID? Or do you want to say, you know what, took the precautions, but I had a good time while I was there? Because you ain't going to have another chance. You will not have another chance. Certainly not the same chance as you have today. So take hold of that. Don't worry about what's going on in the background. The things are, as we've been telling you, June, July, August, September, these kind of months are going to bring a lot more information to our awareness. And this information is going to motivate us, I would like to say, to re-evaluate how governments and agencies work and operate. And also, have we been taken for a ride? And if we've been taken for a ride, as we're saying, many people will start suing their government, because as the consequences of the actions become clear, people have lost jobs, people have lost livelihoods, people have lost family members, people have lost members. We lost Jim Bacon, our revered master, Chi Kong, and couldn't even visit him. So the consequences of these actions are significant. The impact on these for people who do not take appropriate measures is going to be significant, and it's going to come out as post-traumatic stress disorder. Why? Because you are all under stress experience. The experience of uncertainty, the experience that you're going to be infected, how supermarkets are becoming even tighter, how things are reminding you constantly that you are going to die, you are going to die, you need to be. So there is all these external requirements which are placing you, me, everyone under a level of stress to a degree. And those people who are consumed with the fear, well, you know what, they're going to have a hard time as things become a little bit more chaotic. So this is round one. Prepare, to be prepared is better than to be ignorant. So think of it, okay, so if a pandemic has come, it comes once, it comes twice. And during the winter months, normally the body is weaker, which is why now is the time to strengthen your immunity. So in the winter months, autumn months, the body is strong enough to go through, even if there is a second round of a similar kind of thing. Yeah. So now is the time, and hence the emphasis that we're doing this 3 times a week. My colleagues at the center, we've issued, the Flame Center has uh, launched an initiative called RISE, right? So RISE stands for RISE. The R stands for Restore Immunity, Strength and Enhance. So RISE stands for Restoring, Strengthening and Enhancing Immunity, and it's a free initiative over 21 days to all key workers, front and key workers. And it has been specifically designed to make sure that you can strengthen your, first, restore your immunity, stop this fear cycle, come back into the now. 2, start generating certain kinds of hormones within your body through meditation, particular kind of meditation, in order to start strengthening your immunity and then enhancing your electromagnetic, etc., etc. So this RISE initiative, please, if you have anyone at the key, at the front end, send it to them. If you feel there are others who can use it, let us know, and I'm sure we can see what we can do with them. So the idea is to strengthen people as much as possible in the next 2 3 months as best as we can, and if we are able to, such that when autumn comes and winter comes, where things really do begin to become a little bit more surreal, that we're able to, we have a strong enough immunity to take us through this year's winter or flu season. Yeah, so let's make it easier for those people who wish to be very localized in their thinking. Flu season comes every year, so now is a time to strengthen ourselves to go. So if you're ready, we will now start our meditation. If you just close your eyes and close your mouth. So again, we're going to use a little bit of sound meditation, mantra meditation, but we're also going to go into a space and try and see, again, recognize our inner state. Okay, so your eyes are closed, your mouth is closed. And make sure your back is stretched, so your back is upright but not rigid. Your shoulders are stretched back a little bit. And as your shoulders go back, notice how the chest feels. Allow it to be open. And your intention at this stage is simply to become aware of your present experience in life. Okay? So this is your present experience. As you breathe in, let's have a look at the body first. Notice the sensations of your body. See if you can notice the sensations of the body starting from the head, gradually moving down towards your eyes, jaw, neck, from your shoulders coming down, scanning your surface of your skin, your chest, your arms, all the way down towards your wrists. Bring your focus back to your neck, back of your neck, and let's just scan the back. So you begin with your shoulders, go to your shoulder blades, moving down, all the way to the ground. Then from your where you're sitting, notice the sensations. And as you breathe in, bring this focus upwards. And gently move this awareness down your thighs. Take your time. This is your time to know yourself. Know what's going on with your body. And then from your knees, try and move down to your ankles. From your ankles, move down to your feet. And then see if you can become aware of the soles of your feet. Having no sensations are having sensations of no sensations, if that makes sense. Come back to where you're sitting. Notice that your back is straight. Bring your focus to your shoulders. Move your focus down to your elbows, to the wrists, palms of your hands, fingers. Bring your focus to the back of your neck. As you pull your chin in, notice the back of the neck stretching. Take your focus to your eyes. The darkness, part of the body to relax. Move your focus to your mouth. Notice your tongue first. Soft. Allow it to soften. The roof of your mouth. Notice the sensations. On the insides of your cheeks, your mouth cheeks. Allow your jaw to relax and drop. As you breathe in, once again bring your focus to your body as best as you can. Now, this body, notice that you have awareness of it. You may not have a quick or a clear outline, but you have some sense of being either within the body or the body and a little bit more. Maybe you can sense just outside the body. And this body is fixed in this moment of now. It can't go anywhere else. It can't be anywhere else. Your mind can, and where your mind goes, if your awareness is attached to it, it will follow it. So by becoming aware of your body, you become aware of now, here. And no matter what you do or what you think of, your body will keep moving with the moment of now. Cannot stop. So you're in this process of change. That's what the body does. So allow the body to be the body. For you have a body, but you're not your body. Now bring your focus to your chest. Notice how you feel. Comfortable, settled, pleasurable, pleasant, uncomfortable, unsettled, fearful, anxious. How do you feel? Look how amazing it is that you can actually become aware of your feeling. Suddenly become aware whether it's peaceful, settled, or not settled. Next breath out. Begin to listen to the sounds around you. Bring your focus to your experience. Remember, you want to know the experience of your life in this moment. What words do you think? When you're ready, bring your focus just beneath your nose. Draw a slow, deep breath in. Hold and relax. Now hold your focus just beneath your nose. That's your commitment to yourself. And to become aware of the breath as it moves in and as it moves out. If our focus is distracted, or your thoughts, or a sensation, notice the distraction, gently come back to your breath. Allow the breath to breathe by itself. So remember, there are four states of sound. And to use a mantra, we will use the same four states in order to listen to the mantra, produce the mantra, listen to it, and follow it. So we begin by drawing a slow, deep breath in. And as we breathe out, we say the word so hum. Okay, so when you're ready, deep breath in. So listen to it once again. So once again. So bring your focus, and as you breathe in, bring your focus to your body. And notice what's happening. What sensations are present? How do you feel within yourself? And now we're going to use the same mantra. Just say it so only we can hear it. So I'm going to say it a bit louder, simply to allow you to follow the sound. But you just gently say to yourself, such that only you can hear it. So when you're ready, and again, listen to it, follow the sound all the way to the end. Once again. Once again, just listening, coming back to your breath and your body, and listening to your body. For awareness is just listening. And now, as you breathe in, you're going to say mentally to yourself, so. And as you breathe out, you're going to say, hum. And you're going to continue that, listening to the so hum, mentally you're saying to yourself. So off you go. Stay with the breath. Is to listen to the mantra. Now, very gradually begin to lower the volume within yourself. So your soham becomes lower in its volume with every breath. See how low you can take it within yourself and still be aware of it. And as you follow your soham lower and lower, see if you can use the sound of this bell to move it even faster and lower. See if we can go a bit further deeper. And one last time. Notice the nature of your inner space, the peace, the tranquility, where you become part of the whole. There is no you that's breathing, but the breath breathes within you. Notice the absence of fear or anger. Notice the timelessness of this nature, of this moment. Does it matter? Does time even exist now? Notice how this moment becomes the next moment all by itself. And you have the privilege to enjoy the show. How privileged are we to have this life, to be in this moment, to move beyond all those things that keep us away from ourselves. For this is grace, this is benediction, this is heaven, this is peace, this is light, whatever words you want. And it is from this moment that we begin to flourish, to germinate. Acknowledge that you've given yourself some time to be kind to yourself. A smile at your body for all it's been through. Grateful for this moment. When you hear the next bell, use this bell to come back to your breath. A few deep breaths in, and in your own good time, opening your eyes. Take your time. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Joining this moment. Hope you found it as rewarding as I did. Know that you're all looked after. Know that nothing is going to befall you. Know that you're moving towards a life that you're going to look back and you said, why couldn't I have got here early? Tolerating the conditions around us does not mean we have to put up with them, but it motivates us to move towards that which we want. So thank you very much. Look after yourself. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa. Vaheguru.